Support for Consider This is provided by the University of Nebraska at Omaha College of Communication, Fine Arts, and Media.
From the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
It runs the gamut from web applications to physical products and businesses, which are all great successes, but I'll tell you, at the end of the day, has that kid been transformed, right? Are they able to think this way now? The entrepreneurial thinker, the creative thinker, if you will, and where they're driving their own learning.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, Center for Advanced Professional Studies, or C.A.P.S. Here to talk more about it are Don Nizzi, Program Director, Jim Donnell, President of BCDM Architects, and Haley Tierra. Haley is a senior at Westside High School, home of C.A.P.S. Thanks to all of you so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, yeah.
You betcha. Dawn, we're going to start with you.
Sure.
Typical high school curriculum.
Typical high school curriculum hasn't changed a whole lot since I was in high school in the late 70s and early 80s actually, but it's really driven by state standards, state requirements that have to be around those core subjects, usually what we think about, your math, your English, your foreign language, your science. I have to say that I'm a science educator, so I can't forget that part. So there's the state requirements that each state has. Then each high school or district would have its specific requirements. For example, at Westside, I think one of the great requirements that they have for graduation is service learning for all of their students. So they are required to do hours of service learning and document that. That's just one of the extras that our district requires. And then along with those requirements at both the state and local level, you have then this really rich curriculum of elective courses. Those elective courses can be in the fine and performing arts. The elective courses can be in those core content areas, those upper level biology type courses, those upper level social studies history courses, AP courses that students could potentially take. And then a third area where there are elective opportunities is around career technical education. So business courses, the skilled trade sorts of courses that we think of around construction, welding, plumbing, those sorts of courses, family consumer science courses. So there's a rich array of elective courses students can take over the course of their 4 years.
Okay, now in the past we've had programs that have kind of helped raise those standards. Give us some examples of those.
Okay, well I think AP programming, the advanced placement programming, dual credit has certainly raised the bar on education. I think though, when I look at what we're doing currently, I think project-based and problem-based educational models have kind of started to make us think about how we do education. I think that the work environment and the economy around work is really changing how we look at K through 12 education. There's, a rich array of information and research about how work has changed and how students' learning needs to change. The desks and rows and everyone doing the same thing. So I think those have been drivers around some of this change into more authentic learning and more real world learning that goes on with students and for us anyway, the last couple of years of high school.
What a great segue into C.A.P.S.
All right.
Tell us about C.A.P.S, Dawn.
So C.A.P.S, as you've said, is the Center for Advanced Professional Studies, and it's an innovative program that allows juniors and seniors to fast forward their career choices and explore those. So they get a chance to go on extra site visits that we arrange and they arrange. Haley will speak to the fact perhaps that we have put in the hands of our seniors now, you arrange your job shadows and you arrange these. We helped you in the first semester. Now you do that. So they are really having to communicate with businesses. They have professional mentors, and they explore those career fields and experience those career fields in those last 2 years of high school. It is an elective program, so the students do not have to participate. They've chosen to participate, and they spend a portion of their day with us or, again, out in work sites, learning directly from the business partners that we work with.
So brief history, when did all this come into play?
So the C.A.P.S model itself came into play about 10 years ago down in Overland Park, Kansas, the Blue Valley School District, where that was where this originated. And a group of people got together and just kind of said, education needs to look different. Work looks different, education needs to look different. And so they started this C.A.P.S, the C.A.P.S model in Blue Valley C.A.P.S. And then it was within a couple of years after they started, they realized they were onto something really good. And they said, we need to network with other schools who also want to innovate. We don't want them to replicate what we do, but we want them to use us as a model. And you can't replicate because Kansas City area businesses are different than what the businesses are in the Omaha area. So I can't replicate Kansas City. I don't have a Sprint. But what I do is I can look at my own business environment, my own work, you know, who's providing the work in our area, and those would be the people that I would partner with. But the idea of partnering directly with business, having business advise us on what we should be teaching. What do you need them to know?
So exciting and challenging all at the same time. Program director, right? How did you, coming in, take that and incorporate it into an already existing program for the staff, the students, and so forth? So talk just a little bit about how that happens, that transition.
Okay, so how that happened for us was we were awarded a Youth Career Connect grant from the U.S. Department of Labor in April of 2014. And with any federal grant that large, they have certain things they want you to do. We applied because we said we would do it, and then you have to do things. So we were essentially taking that grant and trying to start from scratch in 2014. That's hard to do. And then our superintendent, Blaine McCann, happened to come in contact with this Blue Valley C.A.P.S program. And he introduced the previous program director to it. They visited it, and it's just a beautiful alignment with what the Department of Labor was looking to have done and what the innovators down in Kansas City said needs to be done around education. So what we then did is we use those Youth Career Connect grant funds right now to run our C.A.P.S model.
Okay.
And that was, and so that started in, I think pretty much that model came in for us in fall or maybe early spring 2015.
It's a big job. So what's your story, Dawn? I mean, where do you come from?
So where do I come from?
Yeah.
I come from the great state of Nebraska, first of all. So I have to say that. My students all know, I tell them I have a bias. I tell them they go wherever they want, but I do have a bias for our state. So I come from, this is my 32nd year in education, and most of my years have been spent as a science educator, and I've loved it, and it has been wonderful. But I tell you, after years of it, it just always seems like there's something more students should be engaging in. They're so bright, they're so talented, yet they have so much to offer, and we keep them in the walls of a school. And this was an opportunity for me to say, I think that's what's been going on in my mind, is getting kids out to really experience and getting them out of the four walls and providing those opportunities to them. So professionally, it's been a wonderful transition for me.
Excellent. So you fall right into C.A.P.S, and like any other, this has guiding principles.
Correct.
We're going to put those up for our viewers, and as we put those up,
Sure.
just walk through those, Dawn, and tell us what's important to know.
All right, so those key guiding principles, profession-based learning is very important, and that's where we rely on our business partners, and Jim Donnell is here with us today. He's one of many business partners, but we rely on them. We need to know what our students need to learn. If they say they want to be an architect, these are the things that we want to guide them around. Responsiveness and self-discovery and exploration. I really love these two. They fit beautifully with Westside's strategic plan for our entire district, and that is around personalized learning. From pre-K through grade 12, we have really taken on this idea of personalized learning for all of our students, and that starts with something as simple as giving them voice and choice in the classroom of what they do. And we really feel that our program then takes that to that final level of getting them out there to really personally experience what they're hoping to do with their future. Professional development skills, that too, with our business partners, is something that we hear a great deal about. everything from handshakes to thank you notes to resumes to eye contact to critical thinking and teamwork. So those we work a great deal around, and those are ever evolving. I have on my desktop on my computer a document, and whenever we realize, hey, this is another one of those professional development skills we're working on, I add it to my list around our curriculum of what we feel all students should have to be ready. And then the last guiding principle is the entrepreneurial mindset. And we're all builders, whether we're building a business, we're building within a business, or we're building our lives, we're all builders. So we really think that kids having that idea that they can create the world they want to live in is what we have with that entrepreneurial.
And you've kind of broken this out into something, this word fascinates me, strands, right?
Yeah,
You have
yes.
4 strands,
Correct.
and we want to put that up for our viewers
Sure.
as well. These are just areas, right, that the students are going to be able to take a look at. Tell us about those.
Correct. So currently we have 4 strands of study, and they're health sciences, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. We've really focused on the engineering and architecture pieces of STEM, but we're also getting now some movement along those skilled technical trades as well. We're super excited about that. Business solutions, and then emerging technology. And emerging technology can be the IT side of technology, or it can be the computer science programming side. The reason we've chosen these 4 is twofold. One, they tend to create what are called, or they are a part of what are called H3 careers. So they're high skill, high demand, high wage jobs that are offered in these 4 strands. The other thing is, because we're a workforce development grant from the Department of Labor, and we're funded by H-1B visa money, we have to look at what our H-1B visas being issued to foreign workers to do. And we want to train our students or help our students to realize, hey, this is work you could be doing. And again, high demand, high skill, high wage jobs. And that's what we're trying to introduce them to. So that's why currently those are the strands that we have.
Wow, this is amazing. And you've mentioned this, you don't do
Okay.
this alone. So talk about your partners a little bit and how you choose your collaborators.
Okay. Our collaborators are our area businesses around, again, those 4 strands. I will tell you that we've kind of figured out too that even if we're talking about a restaurant, there's still within a restaurant the business side, there's still the technology side and all that goes into restaurant design and restaurant implementation. Even though we don't have culinary arts as a part of it, because it is not part of the H-1B visa programming, but we have so much that we can support around about any industry. So we reach out to our area business partners, and they reach back to us now, which is wonderful. They're asking to help with us. And so we choose them around those strands and around our community. For those people who live in or around the Omaha area, we have 2 medical schools, we have dental schools, we have all kinds of allied health schools. Research is huge here around healthcare, so healthcare is a big strand that we do. But our architecture and engineering firms as well have high demand and need skilled workers to come in and do that.
What a nice introduction to you, Jim, with the architectural,
I
right?
planned that.
Before we thank you.
Yes.
Before we talk about that, though, I would like you to tell us a little bit about BCDM Architects, just to kind of paint a picture for us in terms of getting into the topic or conversation of your partnership. So tell us about the firm.
Great. We've been around since 1978, so 40 years this year. And to sum it up, we create environments that form people. So education and religious are really kind of the focuses of our firm. And with those, we've been able to do a lot of great things, I think, in this city. Mile Bail is one of the projects here on UNO. Also, Bell Ryan School is a new school. It just opened for OPS. We've worked with the majority of the school districts in the metro area, and we've done a lot of religious projects that have taken us all over the world, and kind of a little best kept secret.
So how were you introduced then to C.A.P.S?
Well, actually I'm involved with a program, it's called ACE, which is Architecture, Construction, Engineering, Mentoring. It's in its 2nd year, it's a national program, but was just introduced here in Omaha. That program introduces mentors, professional mentors, into the classroom. through a program that goes all year long. That's a real life situation type of project that kids work on, and then work with mentors to really understand the profession. It was designed to help bring people into the industry. We have a declining amount of people that are entering and a high amount of attrition. So it was to bring awareness to that. Dr. Lee Kallstrom, who is at the C.A.P.S program at Westside, sponsors or directs one of those programs. We're in 10 different high schools in Omaha. And he and I got together and he said, hey, we've got this C.A.P.S, and would you mind considering being a partner? And I said, absolutely. There's just quite a network. I don't know if people realize it throughout Omaha, trying to find answers for really these career pathways. And where do students go to get the right guidance, to find the right careers at the right time, and it's going to all do great things for the social economics of Omaha to do that. So Omaha's real special that way.
You've mentioned a few, but just rattle them off if you would in terms of benefits to your organization, but just overall from what you've seen.
Yeah, I think it's the network pipeline that we get, the up and coming future employees that we'll have. Definitely, that's probably one of the bigger things. Retention. If people, kids are making decisions earlier, and quite frankly, if they find out that that's not where they want to go, they make that decision now opposed to mid-career or entry of a career. A lot of money spent on their side, and then for industry that doesn't, trying to replenish that all the time is a real cost overhead to us that gets passed on to the community. Right. So those are probably the big thing. But career readiness is probably where, and Dawn hit on this with her program, is just great. Most of our graduates are not career ready. Quite frankly, not capable of really doing the services that we do. Education teaches about 10% of what we actually do. Of that 10%, only 1% does what they teach, and 90% or 99 of the people that do 90% of what we do have to do that, learn that in the firms after graduation. So they're kind of starting to do that right up front, and so we're looking to work as partners to parallel the educational course, and hopefully that'll integrate finally into a curriculum. What
a concept. Okay, now from where you sit, Jim, tell me about, I could ask Dawn, but I'm going to ask you instead, the students involved in this. What has been your impression overall of the students?
Well, here's very engaged. Quite frankly, they're not like any other human being or adult. If there is a purpose, you're engaged. If you're not, you disconnect. If you don't find a purpose, you're out of there. And I think this has a purpose. They can see the end game, which is, career placement, and they're working towards something. And everything they learn is for that, not just a, ambiguous knowledge that somehow you got to piece together later in life. So,
okay. Thank you.
And then they're very intelligent, very tech savvy. Believe it, really, they learn more about what we will be doing day to day because they have the time to do it exponentially. And, we're turning over our technologies and how we do things probably every 3 years, where it used to be a whole career before you saw new technologies. So somehow we got to integrate that naive knowledge that they have with the experience of best practices. So
very good.
That's what we're trying to do.
So Haley, how'd he do in describing the students?
I think you did rather well. I think so.
That was quite a nice setup for you.
Yeah. Engaged is kind of arguable. I'm not sure we're all engaged all the time, but we try to be.
True.
Well, she's honest.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why we brought her.
More so.
So Haley, before we talk about the program, tell us just a little bit about what's important to know about you.
what's important to know about me? I'm Haley. I'm a senior at Westside High School, and I'm involved with the C.A.P.S program. I've been involved with the C.A.P.S program for all 3 years that it's been at Westside, but I really dove into it this year just because that's what my schedule permitted. Other than that, I'm planning to go to college. I just don't know where yet, and I haven't really decided where either. I am rather involved at school. My favorite clubs are Student Council and Beta Club. I really enjoy community service, and I like to read in my free time.
I'm so glad that, see, you're just anticipating my questions, because I'm thinking on a program where we're talking academics and, you know, careers and so forth, what do you like to do for fun, Haley? I mean, do you have fun at all? Or maybe it is fun to be involved in the program. But what do you do outside of school?
I do have a lot of fun in the program. I'm not going to lie about that. But outside of school, I have been involved with sports all 4 years of high school. I enjoy running. I actually signed up through C.A.P.S to run a half marathon this May. Yeah. And
is this your first, Haley?
No, this is actually my second one. I ran one as a sophomore too.
I don't know how you go back. I
Yeah,
did
I'm
one,
not really
and
sure
one was
how
enough.
I'm gonna go back either.
I'll wish you well on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So the running. Now, you talked a little bit. 3 years involved in this program. What was life like before? I'm just trying to get a gauge on. You know, we talked about your standard curriculum at the beginning of the program. So, what was life like before? And then you get involved in this C.A.P.S program. Did it change much for you? Were you ready for it? Talk about that transition.
Okay. Well, like I said, I really dove into it this year, so I'm going to talk about my first 3 years of high school.
Okay.
And going into freshman year is when 2014 is really when Westside made that big change, that push towards personalized learning, and I saw that in the classroom because a couple of my teachers were on that boat ready to jump in for it, and so I was there firsthand, sort of their guinea pigs to see how it was working. I think it worked out well because we've implemented it into K through 12 now, not just your freshmen. But before C.A.P.S, Westside has a very different schedule to begin with. We have modular scheduling. We're like one of 5 in the nation, I think, so that's very different already. And with modular scheduling, it allows you to take a lot of the classes that Dawn was talking about, all of those extracurriculars. And so I had a full schedule my first 3 years of high school, but as a senior, because I took so many classes leading up to this, I have a lot more flexibility, so I was able to get involved with C.A.P.S. Like on Mondays, I only have 3 classes a day. And so I can go out and job shadow in the afternoon, or I can go finish projects that I haven't started yet.
So, Dawn mentioned strands.
Yes.
What does that word mean to you?
As students, we sort of enter the program and we get to pick our strand. Originally, I went in as a health science student because I thought I was going to be a neurosurgeon. And I'm not going to be a neurosurgeon. I figured out that I don't have the patience for that. But now I'm still involved with the health science strand, but I have turned more towards the business side through C.A.P.S. I've discovered a passion for business and marketing and sales and that sort of thing.
See, this is so cool because this speaks to what you were saying, Jim, in terms of, I mean, some of us get to college and even beyond, and we wake up one day and think, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. And you're a living example of having learned that in high school, and just not by a fly-by-night thing. You were actually entrenched in what was going on and said, day-to-day not so much for me, right?
Right.
And so how many students, you know, you're surrounded by other kids who are involved in the program. Do you find that that's pretty common, that with this great experience, they're saying, I'm so glad I went through that, because that's not really what I thought it was?
Absolutely. There are a couple who have gone on the program and said, I want to be this, and they've stuck with it the whole time, and C.A.P.S has really accelerated their course of study so they can get into programs earlier so that when they get into college, they're prepared to go straight into this career field that they've wanted to do all their life. But I would think that a lot of the majority of my classmates, we go in, we think one thing, but then we get into the field, we learn some stuff, realize that it's not the best fit for us, and so we take a sharp turn, try something else, realize that that's not too great for us either, and so we just kind of weave our way around until we find something that we think will stick with us.
So in just the few minutes we have remaining, if you could sum up your experience, how is your life different, Haley, because you've had C.A.P.S in it?
Like I said, I made that big career change. I mean, I haven't really gotten into a career yet, but now I realize that I don't have to do just one thing. The collaborators and the mentors at C.A.P.S have really shown me that there's not just one path that you can take in order to get to your end goal. And so I want to experience a bunch of different things, and maybe I'll end up as a neurosurgeon. I'm not quite sure, but but C.A.P.S has really taught me that I can do the things that I want to do. I don't just have to do it in one way. I can do it in a bunch of different ways.
Very nice. Thank you, and best wishes to you too, by the way.
Thank you very much.
So Dawn, we've got 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds. Benefits to the state of Nebraska.
Economic development. And economical development, because again, we're working from this entrepreneurial mindset. We're working with the Gallup organization around their Builder Profile 10. We're identifying kids who are entrepreneurial. We are encouraging building, and business starts within businesses are huge for economic development. As I said at the beginning, I have a bias for the state of Nebraska. I let my students know that bias. I don't stop them at the border, but I really feel we have influenced them staying in our state to take advantage of the wonderful universities that we have here.
Very well
And that's
said.
a win.
Very well said. We have
you.
a website and a phone number for viewers who are wanting more information about
Correct.
C.A.P.S, the program we've been talking about today. It's westsidecaps.yourcapsnetwork.org, or you can call 402-408-8447. Dawn, Jim, Haley, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your time and expertise. Best wishes with this program. It sounds awesome. I want to thank our students who are working so hard behind the scenes, of course, our viewers for watching. As we close, a trip down South 24th Street in Omaha as seen through the lens of Analia Ramirez, a junior right here at UNO. We'll see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at netnebraska.org/Consider This. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.
Support for Consider This is provided by the University of Nebraska at Omaha College of Communication, Fine Arts, and Media.